My name is Paul Galloway. I'm the Executive Director for the American Muslim Advisory Council. And I just wanted to read our mission statement before I talk too much more about what we do. And our mission is to foster mutual respect and trust amongst all people through civic engagement, community building, media relations. And we do this to protect all Tennesseans from targeted violence and prejudice. Now, I use this phrase called targeted violence because for us, a hate crime and an act of terror are virtually the same thing. And if you think about the media coverage of these events and the way the administration and even our local legislators cover our community, this becomes incredibly important. Media Matters for America has a study on their website today that talked about cable news coverage of the Muslim ban. And they basically said that there was virtually no Muslims included in the cable news coverage of the Muslim ban. So the Muslim voice is one of the least understood and least heard from, but yet one of the most talked about communities there are. So the biggest message I can give you today is that there are organizations that have deep connections into the mosques and that also have connections to the cultural Muslims, so we can bring you the Muslim voice. And I want to thank the Democratic Party of Davidson County so much for inviting me to be here because it's a step in the right direction. The reason this is so important is when the shooting in Quebec happened, 6 people were killed, and even the White House initially said that it was terrorism from Muslims onto Muslims. And a local Islam hater, I guess we can call her, has a blog, and she's on a radio show every Monday for 30 minutes. And she said, it's not Islamophobia when Muslims kill Muslims, and she cited this case. Now, facts of the matter are, she actually laughed about it while she was talking with the radio host on WTN. And the fact of the case is that it was a white nationalist in Canada who did the shooting. And the reason there was a confusion was the guy who called 911 was a Muslim. And they arrested him originally and then found out he was trying to help. So this is why we use the phrase targeted violence. Because for us, terrorism has been so associated with the Muslim community that it actually impacts us at a local level in legislation. And that's actually I want to talk about something that has a bad story with a good ending. In the last legislative session, there was a forfeiture of assets bill that was targeting our community. But the people who hate our community, they do 2 things very well. One, they disguise what they're doing in the legislation, so it looks on the surface, if you don't do it, like legitimate legislation. I remember approaching Democratic elected officials, asking them about this bill, and the title of the bill is Forfeiture of Assets in the Case of Terrorism. And they're like, why on earth would you be against that? It's a good question. The way the bill in its initial form was written, it didn't specify that it took a charge of terrorism, like a legal charge. It could have been an accusation. It also didn't specify what level of government could enact forfeiture procedures. And it didn't have any clause in the bill, and this bill passed in a similar form to this in many other states, 10 to be exact. And it didn't say that there had to be a burden of proof that the assets management, like a church or a nonprofit, would have to have knowledge that the terrorism, that the asset was being used for the purpose of terrorism. Now, we fought back and we had a lot of very good support from the Democratic elected officials. The bill got rewritten to a point where it requires a burden of proof, 1 minute, and it also requires that it's a conviction of terrorism. So when it gets there, we ended up endorsing the bill. Now, here's the nice thing. We now have a bill, SB 1098, sponsored by Senator Kyle, that adds to the definition of terrorism hate crimes against LGBTQ, religious communities, African American, racial communities, and that bill is going through now. So if there's a message that I would put out to you today, is when they attack the Muslim community, it's almost always a cover to attack all the other communities. And they use lies and fear-mongering to do it. So please support SB 1098, let's make that pass, because then forfeiture will happen to maybe Klan resources. And then also know there's people here to explain how they do those things. Thank you so much.
Thank you.